I guess periodically, Rex likes to take the form of CH2, CHXN. Here's your look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, the Superman movie, Metamorpho. Donned only in a threadbare pair of wrestling trunks, Rex Mason, aka Metamorpho, or the Element Man, is an eerie, haunted, bald man with an ashen white face and body that can be composed in different substances, clay, metal, and elements far more dangerous. In the hands of a villain like Lex Luthor, he can be deadly. Somebody's been giving Metamorpho the wrong information. They told him they could beat Superman with symbol KR and atomic number 36. Now, that's krypton. That's the odorless gas used for lighting and photography. Unless you want to just take Superman's photo to death, I don't think you can be able to beat Superman at all with that. In the meantime, though, let's go ahead and take our tape measure and see how tall Metamorpho actually stands. Then, of course, we'll also bring in some of the other Superman movie figures that we've already had a look at. Metamorpho, is going to be standing at about 6 3/4 of an inch. That's translating to a figure that's 17 centimeters tall. Come to think of it, somebody that knows a little bit about photography is obviously Clark Kent, Superman's alter ego. Now, we don't have yet a Clark Kent. I would imagine, though, if it's McFarlane Toys, after all, that's running with this license, a Clark Kent will eventually happen. And I hope that at that time, we'll also get ourselves a Lois Lane. Sizing, though, I mean, even though we don't know how tall these characters are going to be in the movie, we know at least, though, that Superman's 6'4". Metamorpho, I can't imagine is going to be that same size. So I'm basing it at least on pre-knowledge of the movie, that I think the sizing is probably correct. Here's also what he looks like as well with Lex Luthor. And still, though, when you're looking at the three figures together, Metamorpho is considerably shorter. As a multiverse figure, Mason sadly only includes a display stand, a trading card, and some swappable hands over here. First, let's look at the display stand. I mean, no additional frills get afforded these display stands. It's pretty much the same multiverse stands that we've already gotten before. The DC logo is still there. You still got a peg. And obviously, you're going to have two. I don't want to say obviously, but tell you, though, as well, that he does have two pegals on the undersides of his feet. Why are we waving our fingers so much around in this review? The display stand, we'll put it off to the side. Let's also look at his trading card. Now, the trading card is more closer to the basic release, or the regular version of Superman, in that they've given a white border and sort of an illustrated design of the characters. In this case, Metamorpho, and in this case, Superman. Quite very much different when you get to the theatrical versions of these characters. The theatrical deluxe versions do come included with more elaborate looking trading cards. Again, I like these cards. I gotta say, though, just for one that usually collects a lot of DC Multiverse and trading cards that go with them, I like the white border. I think it's just so much more simpler. On the back of the card, his real name is Rex Mason, just in case you didn't know. This paragraph you can also choose to read for yourself. I've already beaten you to it. I read it at the beginning of this review. Let's move that off to the side. So the figure unfortunately only comes included with some swappable, interchangeable hands. Now, we don't really know all that much so far, but if we could kind of look and deduce the trailer, we sort of know that Superman's being imprisoned and that Metamorpho may have something to do with the fact, I'm still doing that with my fingers, still has maybe something to do with the fact that why Superman is a prisoner, because Metamorpho seems to be containing him with what looks to be, at a few scenes in the trailer, with a kryptonite hand. Now, it would have been splendid that the figure could have come included with a kryptonite hand. Sadly, though, he doesn't. Sadly, though, the figure only comes with two gripping or two closed fists, and then he also has a couple of kind of mauling hands. Now, one thing I do think that's really cool is that each of the hands are differently sculpted, because, of course, he has different elements. So, of course, you got the purple hand. The purple hand will go on the purple side. Then you've got yourself the brown hand. The brown hand will go on the brown side. And you meeting in the middle. If you did want to change out the hands, they're not hard at all. I mean, basically, you're just going to hold on to the forearm. So, again, he's got closed fists. Just sort of hold on to this textured arm, and then just pop that off the peg. Take the hand that you want to use. Again, we already have to know to match the colors up. So, again, you got that hand, and we'll just do it on this side as well. I'm sure, though, with this mold now already being in their inventory, I would imagine they're probably going to be releasing maybe a red platinum edition version of Metamorpho, where maybe, in fact, they may incorporate some green coloring in there, sort of, again, based on what we've seen so far in the movie. For the sculpting, though, of Metamorpho, I've always been a big fan of Metamorpho. Characters that can change their elements. Absorbing Man is another one, although Absorbing Man is Marvel. This is clearly, though, DC. But I think the idea that he can change his form lends really well to the idea, too, that Lex Luthor can find a way to imprison Superman. Because really, when you think of Superman, how could anyone be contained in a prison? How could Superman even be locked away in a prison cell? Unless, though, you incorporate the factor that Metamorpho can change his arm to, of course, the element of kryptonite, even though, again, kryptonite isn't on the periodic table. What I do really like about the sculpting of the figure is that it's very busy. The colors really don't match. But if you're a fan of Metamorpho from the comics, it fits the bill nicely. I think the head sculpt's really cool also on him, too. Like, it's not just a smooth, white, painted face. If you kind of look at all the things that are going on to the sculpting, he's got some spirals here. He's got some sculpting and texturing on the back of his head, too. There's a lot to take in as Metamorpho is changing his form. I think the face sculpt, from what at least we've seen, looks very much like Metamorpho from the movie. Of course, then when you start to look at all the sculpting that goes then into this figure, the one side of obviously is your purple. And the purple, I think, is probably my favorite side because it also has all these lodged, kind of wedged in their stones. So it's got these jewels in blue. He's got a few crystals there in that kind of brown color onto the side as well. That sculpt also carries over to the side of his arm too. In fact, the only place that he doesn't seem to have it, or he has a lot less of it, happens to be this area right here. And I can understand why they had to kind of limit some of the sculpting there, because then he would be able to move the arm the way he's doing right now. Sculpting also carries over the elbow too. Now this too, when you're moving the arm, I was kind of thinking to myself, well, if they've added this sculpting here, would that cause conflict with bending the elbow? Not at all. Also this side too, while he doesn't have as much color on this side, it's kind of more of a like sandier looking sculpt. Very cool there. The only thing I will say also is that the arm isn't quite really the same colors as torso. So notably here in the torso, it seems more lighter here and darker and almost even more faded on the arm. But I think overall, like, the coloring is really good. The only thing I don't love really about the figure is the fact he does have like these wrestling trunks. I mean, we can give some realism, I suppose, to a character that looks as outrageous like this in the movie. I mean, I would have really preferred if they had given him like tights or something, but I guess maybe tights would make him look even more sillier. But the wrestling trunks does have like the black striping down the side. I mean, for what little paint that actually gets, I think it did a nice job of that. And then, of course, we changed the colors again when we get to the lower half of his body. So on one side, he's kind of got more of a crystal element, and then on the other side, perhaps something similar to Swamp Thing. Really nice use of sculpting and some browns added in there as well. There's not at all a piece where this figure, I mean, other than maybe I would say like the joints, but I would say outside of that, there's nothing really on this figure that feels left off in the paint department. Yes, the only thing that is very visible is when you get to like the knee joint and you get to the ankle. Both of them seem to be using, for reasons unknown, a different color of plastic altogether. They probably would have done a different plastic to ensure, though, that when you're bending his knee, for example, things aren't going to snap. This still seems to be using like a clear plastic, and probably using clear plastic would have been a big no-no. So instead they chose to use a more of an opaque plastic. It kind of loses some of the illusion of having a seamless look to his leg. It's the only thing I really don't like about the figure is just that there is this white area on the knee. There is this white area on the ankle, but the rest of Metamorpho seems, though, generally complete. For the figure's articulation, we're going to start to his head and work our way down to his feet. Head's going to be on a ball joint, so it allows the head to rotate all the way around. Again, I want to show you guys what that head sculpt looks like. Very nice indeed. Seems to be a little red around the eyes. I wonder if Visine can get that out. Superman had that problem as well. Head's going to look up. It's going to look down. You can also move it back and forth as well. Yeah, you can rotate it all the way around. Arm's going to rotate too. You can rotate them 360, 360. You can also hinge them out. Now, hinging them out, to bend them all the way, it almost delivers us a 90-degree angle bend. Just comes up just a tad bit short, almost though a full T-pose. The arms do have a swivel in the bicep, whether you want to use this elemental side or the other. Bicep swivel, getting that all tongue-tied. Double hinge on the elbows, and the hands rotate all the way around. For his lower half, or upper half, he has a ball joint in the torso. He has also a similar ball joint in his abdomen area. The legs split out, but by the nature of the way they've sculpted the trunks, that's as far, without cracking or breaking anything after that. That's about as far that I can move his legs, about that far. You can take the legs and move forward, but very limited there. Also very limited when you try to move the legs back. Now, he has no swivel here, or if he does, it's tight though. This leg is also super tight too, so yeah, he does have a swivel. I assumed he probably would have had a swivel, but up to this point, I was having a hard time. I probably should have even heated that first. Double hinge on the knee. There is a little bit also of lost green that goes right on here and right on here. I mean, at least they painted the kneecap, so it's still pretty close. But unfortunately though, now this is one issue I'm also having with this figure, is that right here, and this has happened once, and I thought to myself, okay, that's probably going to be an isolated incident. When you bring the knee up and you kind of bring it further forward, it starts right here to crack the plastic. It hasn't happened on this side, not that I'm aware of at least, but I noticed it though on this side, only in the beginning when I was first taking this figure out of the packaging and I was sort of playing around with him. I thought, maybe that's not a split. Maybe just kind of wiping my eyes, and clearing my eyes. Maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. No, it's now happened again. Bringing the legs too forcefully forward seems to start cracking the plastic, so you just want to be careful of that. The ankles do move forward and back. You have an ankle rocker, and then you also have, in both cases, whether you use the crystal or the swampy, both figures do also have, or both feet do have toe articulation as well. I like the look of the figure. I mean, he comes together well for a movie realistic Metamorpho. I never thought this day would ever come that we'd have a movie Metamorpho. Still don't love the trunks. I don't think the trunks is really working for me at all. I got to say too, this isn't working for me. The fact that this is the second time. The first time I only barely noticed just a faint line happening here. But now even showing you guys the articulation again, this has happened again. Just be careful moving that leg forward. Again, I don't know why it's on this side and not on the other. I got a crack of plastic right there. And I don't think it's going to develop any worse than what it is right now, but it's something certainly to keep in mind if you get Metamorpho, the packaging, and sort of, again, you're just kind of moving the figure around for its posability points. We're going to put the figure down right here and obviously bring back in Superman. Let's put him right next to him. You know, again, like I think we're probably going to be getting another version of Metamorpho. That seems to be the bill when it comes to McFarlane toys, and that's not a bad thing at all. I mean, like, if they've invested the budget to produce this mold, then obviously they want to get some mileage out of this mold. And I wouldn't be surprised at all that we don't get another version of Metamorpho that maybe, instead of having just his regular elemental hands, maybe they'll swap that out. Maybe, in fact, they'll actually color the arm. I think it's on this side in the movie trailer where we see him turning sort of into kryptonite. I think it's on this side, but I think we would imagine that we're probably going to be getting a Platinum Edition Metamorpho that is going to have the partially morphing kryptonite hand and kryptonite arm, because that seems to be the only way that we know so far that Lex Luthor has been able to imprison the Man of Steel. I guess I do sound like a bit of a hypocrite, because on one end, I really don't want Superman's first movie with James Gunn's universe to be bogged down and shared the screen time with other superheroes. But yet, on the other end, I'm happy that we finally have a screen presence of Metamorpho, a Guy Gardner, and Hawkgirl. The fact that we have characters like that appearing on the big screen shows us there's a bigger world out there than just Superman alone. Maybe had they introduced only just one character, and then as subsequent sequels would have been developed, then maybe they could have introduced other superheroes. But, you know, saying that though, I'm still happy that we finally have a Metamorpho and he's making on the big screen. How much screen time, though, he actually does get in the movie. Whether, though, he's just a plot device for Lex Luthor, just to be the reason why Lex Luthor can actually imprison the Man of Steel. If that is all that we really get, maybe that might just be enough that we see Metamorpho in future sequels. Again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. What we really need to see is whether a Superman movie can stand on its own, even though really Superman isn't standing on his own. He really does need the help of all these other characters as well. Metamorpho looks fantastic. I don't really like, again, that top of his knee is cracking. I tried it again just before we jumped to the turntable. It hasn't cracked anymore, but I think it probably was just the force of bringing the leg forward. I thought it was being careful, but now this has happened twice, and I hope it doesn't happen again. Again, when it comes to his accessories, not really much can be said. I mean, he does have a display stand, he does have a trading card, and he does have 2 swappable hands. I really wish he could have had more. There may be an opportunity, like we've gotten with the deluxe theatrical editions of these figures, that there may also be a deluxe theatrical release of Metamorpho where he might have other swappable hands, different faces or different heads, and maybe they could incorporate some of the things that Metamorpho can turn into. Right now, he's only turning into plastic, and as a plastic figure, he does look fantastic. What do you guys think of Metamorpho? Let me know down below in the comments section. Do you also feel, though, that the Superman movie should have had a lot lighter of a superhero count? Or do you like the idea that they throw in already the first Superman outing? James Gunn throws in some additional superheroes as well. What do you guys think? Do you feel like Superman should really have been a solo standalone movie? Or do you like the idea that James Gunn has incorporated other characters too? If you guys did enjoy this video, why don't you do it a solid throw to like? If you guys want to stick around for more so, and I hope so, coming up next too, we'll also be looking at the Superman robot. Yeah, Superman's robot from the Fortress of Solitude. So if you guys certainly want to see the reviews for that, making sure, though, you're coming back for that video. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.